What is going on, my friends? Welcome back. We are back in the shop, taking a little bit of break today from the second gen, and we're going to be focusing on kind of trying to continue to complete the compound turbo kit on the dually. We still have a bunch of parts. We still have the turbo sitting over here. So today we're going to be working on that and just trying to get it that much closer and maybe possibly firing this thing up tonight. So the second turbo should be going on. The hot pipe should be going on. Hopefully the downpipe. We may still have some very odd loose ends to tie up to say maybe complete this installation, but hopefully tonight we can knock out some big items. Over here on the multi-page installation sheet, we really only have a couple pages left, maybe one or two, but where we're at now is the hot pipe, which comes from the hot side of the factory charger, kind of loops up into the turbine housing on the big 475. That pipe has to go on first, and then we are going to actually probably take the compressor cover off of the front side of the charger and mount the center section and the exhaust housing, and then kind of bolt this up to that pipe. So as you can see, per the installation instructions, this actually uses studs to go through the mount that's mounted to the side of the block to kind of support the turbo. And then we do have our oil feed fitting in there. If you guys missed some of the last couple of videos, we did actually get, by the way, Topside Creeper, man's best friend, link down in the bio if you want to check it out. I get a lot of questions about that thing. So we have the mount, we have the drain. This drain does look like it might be close, but it does actually clear with plenty of room. And so it's really just getting the last couple pieces installed on this thing and hopefully trying to get this thing done so we can drive it here soon now that the weather is nice. So that is the goal. We're going to keep chugging along and see what we can get done tonight. All right, so that did not take long. Not take long to put on, not take long to find our first problem with putting the top turbo on. So as you guys saw, I got the hot pipe kind of loosely on there, mated to the back side of the factory, well, the Cheetah turbo in our case. But what's happening is I went to go mock up the top turbo here just to make sure the hot housing and that line up. And as you can see, this hot pipe actually needs to rotate down more. And what it's gonna do is actually gonna reduce the distance between here and here. But seeing that we have our third suspension here and these massive, awesome King shocks, this reservoir and this mount are now in our way. So I just wanted to kind of show you that. Maybe it'll help somebody, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to try and loosen up this reservoir mount, maybe try and tweak it. It is pretty close to almost tucking right behind it. So what I'm hoping that I can do is kind of just, this stupid thing keeps waving. What I'm going to try and do is just kind of rotate this down, seeing that it is so close. But first problem, just so you know, if you want to check out this pusher kit and have reservoir mounts on here, which is probably not very many people, but that is what the top turbo is going to eventually look like once we figure this out. But that is sitting on top of the brace. So let's try and fix that and we'll carry on.
5 hours later.
Where to even begin playing major catch-up mode here, because we just kind of got in go mode and kind of wrapped up a whole bunch of stuff. This thing has been kicking my butt. When I say that things are tight in here, things are very tight. We ended up having to loosen up the turbo mount and kind of reposition that to kind of line it up with the hot pipe better, but a lot is done. I'm going to kind of go over everything with you. It's very tight in here, not only to stick your hands, but also to kind of stick a camera. So you'd really just see in my hands and feet flailing around. But anyway, we have got everything turbo-wise mounted and pretty much done. Everything is looking good. And one thing I will say about this kit is everything is tight, but surprisingly, nothing is touching. And we actually have the exhaust in and everything. Nothing is hitting the firewall, nothing is hitting the transmission, nothing's hitting the manifold. So we do have a turbo blanket that's going to go over this once we kind of fire everything up and know that everything is good. We have been filling up the coolant little by little, and of course there right at the last bucket fill we spilled everything everywhere, so that was a fun time. That got me in a great mood. So the intermediate charge pipe here is done and clamped down. And again, let's just see oil feed line. I'm just trying to recap here the best I can for you guys, and I apologize that it kind of went like that. We actually ended up using a little bucket, a paint filter that Mark left here, scooping it out of our 5-gallon bucket that we cleaned, and then kind of trying to get it in here. It's kind of tight with the hood strut right here, but we managed to do that, only spilling once, which is actually pretty good. But mock if you will, but look at all the crap that this look at this filter caught. I was thinking about just dumping it right in. I'm like, you know what, I gotta try and filter this a little bit. So glad I did that. All right, here's a look underneath through the fender well. We did have to bend this out of the way, but there is clearance now. I think I got a new sticker for this so I can recenter that, but there is clearance there. Again, the downpipe clears extremely well. We will have to bother our man Russell to kind of weld up a 4 to 5 section so I cannot use as many clamps, because they want you to clamp, and then clamp. So there's a lot of clamping going on, and I think we could just weld one of them. But there are no leaks. The coolant system is pretty much filled up. All of our lines are made. This is the main coolant line from the tank back down to the, what do you want to call it, the riser pipe there. So everything is looking good there. No leaks on our AN line. And the fleece lines, the fleece AC lines are doing a great job. They actually, right here, it looks like they are touching just a little bit, but there is a little bit of room in between there. And again, that's heat wrapped, that's insulated, so I think we'll be okay there without a problem. And best of all, I'm trying to remember as I'm going here. Best of all, this oil filter that looks like it's got barely any room to come out with the fleece AC lines, with our filter right here. I was doing the filter test the whole time I've been installing this kit. It looks like there is enough room to slide the filter out, probably just as much room as there is from the factory. So that's exactly how much room you have when the factory filter comes out. But everything is good, guys. We're good. I'm catching my breath, and we're a little bruised up. We lost a couple battles, but we won the war. All of the hardware is tight up here to the turbine housing. The bracket's readjusted and moved, and the drain is tight. Everything is good. I know it's a little hard to see in here, but I'm actually very surprised that nothing is touching, hitting. It's close, but close, you know where close counts. Not here. So everything's good. Probably repeating myself a bunch. So things that we have left. Let's just check off the things that we have left before we are going to start this thing up. I do want to put the intake pipe on because of the sensors here. I'd rather not set off the check engine lights, which they may come on anyway because they were disconnected, but we're going to put the intake on. I would still like to try and use the Banks box here eventually. Not going to worry about that now. I do want to make a clamp up for this coolant pipe right here, and then we need to finish the exhaust off, which again will not start us for halt us from starting it, which we're going to come back here. You'll see that in this video. We are going to start this puppy up. Always make sure to lube your turbo up before you put your feed line on. So we did that. We did get the majority of the coolant put back in the fleece coolant tank. I think the sheer size of that tank versus this massive one were probably pretty much down. This thing was almost full. So I do believe that we are good, boys. I will catch back up with you guys tomorrow. It is, what time is it? Where's my damn phone? I think it's like 11:30 right now. So we're gonna go home, get some sleep, go to work, and then we'll come back, fire this baby up. Alrighty guys, a little bit of time the next day, and we are pretty much wrapped up. We're getting ready to fire this thing up. The coolant's topped off. We have our intake set up, our sensors in there. We're gonna leave the filter off just to make sure we're all good inside there because we're just going to really be idling, and we're going to get this thing, like I said, fired up and check for leaks. The biggest thing is make sure we don't have coolant leaks, any oil leaks coming from the feed or the drain of the second turbo, and just let this thing run for a minute, make sure everything is good, and then we can kind of completely button this thing up and get ready to test drive it probably at a later date, because again, we have not messed with the exhaust at all. We just kind of finished up the intake and some of the miscellaneous. So the exhaust is really the last and final piece, but we do have it kind of just piped into the rest of the exhaust just so it isn't blowing everywhere. But all right, let's put you guys up and let's fire this thing up. Alrighty guys, the dually is officially back. Everything looks great. There's no leaks. Everything is doing extremely well, and I am extremely happy. Love how all of the black on black kind of looks in here. And again, just a couple miscellaneous pieces and this thing will be buttoned up and good. We have no lights on the dash. Everything is just good. There's no leaks underneath here. My biggest concern again was the oil drain, and we have no issues up in there, no coolant leaks. So I'm extremely happy, very, very happy. And again, we'll have to get this thing retuned. We'll have to get with our boys and get this thing retuned. Main reason, again, for the retune is now that there is air being compounded back into the factory charger, the vane positioning on the factory, while our Fleece Cheetah VGT turbo, still a VGT turbo, the vane positioning needs to be opened up. Like normally when it's just sitting there idling, it is, you know, X, and it needs to be open more. It needs to open sooner and more often to allow all of the air to go right back down inside of it. So it might sound just a little bit different. It sounds very, very quiet right now. Even when you're revving it, even when it's just sitting here idling, it sounds very, very quiet. So maybe with the retune, it'll louden it up a little bit, but under just idling, you're not gonna really hear this top charger too much. So I'm assuming that when we're gonna be driving it, you will hear it a lot more. So again, super, I don't know if you can tell in my voice, I am extremely excited. Just gonna get these couple last things buttons up. The guys over at Mad Dog Customs are pretty much, I believe our headlights may have already shipped out, but it's gonna take about a week or so to get back. So once the headlights are in, we're gonna throw that front wheel back on, and the dually is officially gonna be back in action. The weather's nice outside, we can drive it. I probably will leave the fender liner out just to monitor over the next couple miles or so, recheck all of our hardware. Can't wait to go bother Russell again. He's gonna love us. Maybe not Russell. I don't know. We could probably MIG weld that. Maybe not. Maybe we'll save Russell. But we love seeing Russell. So we'll see. We're gonna have to fix the exhaust, make sure there's no rattling going on with that. This thing needs a bath. This thing needs a bath. All right, guys, and just like that, that is going to wrap up this video. Give this video a big thumbs up if you are excited for the dually to come back. We're gonna be driving this thing very soon, get a first test drive, get this thing broken in, get it retuned, and we'll be using this thing again, hauling some stuff. The weather's getting good. You guys know the daylight savings time really just, it did wonders for me. The weather, it's just, man, what a day to be, what a time to be alive, people. But that is gonna wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. We will be jumping back over to second gen Bad Larry over there. So that's up next. And we're just gonna keep packing things out, boys. That's what we're gonna do. I will see you guys soon. See ya.